Hello, and welcome back to Documentary Reel. For centuries, the Amazon rainforest was seen as a pristine, untouched wilderness. It was a place where nature reigned supreme, a vast green expanse inhabited only by small, scattered tribes living in harmony with their environment. This romantic image, however, is being shattered. A picture of a far more complex and populated past is emerging from beneath the dense jungle canopy, revealing a world of lost cities and massive civilizations. What if I told you that the Amazon was not a virgin forest, but a garden, shaped and managed by millions of people for thousands of years? New technology is allowing us to peel back the layers of jungle, and what we're finding is rewriting history. This is the story of the Amazon's hidden past, a tale of sprawling urban centers, advanced agricultural practices, and the enduring myth that led explorers to their doom. For decades, the idea of large, complex societies in the Amazon was dismissed by mainstream archaeology. The logic seemed sound: the soil in the rainforest is notoriously poor, making it seemingly impossible to support the large-scale agriculture needed for a dense population. Any evidence of past settlements was thought to be the work of small, nomadic groups who left a minimal footprint on the landscape. This view painted a picture of a static, unchanging world, a wilderness that had always been wild. But whispers and legends persisted. The first European explorers to venture down the Amazon River in the 16th century, like Francisco de Orellana, wrote of incredible sights. They described packed riverbanks, with one town blurring into the next for miles, and encounters with large, organized groups of people. These accounts were largely dismissed as exaggerations, the fevered dreams of men lost in an alien world, desperate to impress their sponsors back home. The jungle, it was believed, was simply too powerful, too inhospitable, for such grand societies to have ever existed. It seemed the rainforest had swallowed any proof, leaving only mystery and the enduring myth of a golden city, El Dorado. The prevailing scientific consensus was clear: the Amazon was a natural paradise, not the cradle of a lost civilization. This entire paradigm began to crumble with the advent of a revolutionary technology, LiDAR. Short for light detection and ranging, LiDAR is like a superpower for archaeologists. From an airplane or a drone, a device shoots millions of laser pulses down towards the ground. These lasers penetrate the dense canopy of the rainforest, bouncing off the forest floor and back to the sensor. By measuring the time it takes for each pulse to return, a highly detailed 3D map of the ground's topography can be created. For the first time, scientists could digitally deforest the Amazon, stripping away the trees and vegetation to see the bare earth underneath. The results were nothing short of breathtaking. Where once there was only a uniform sea of green, the LiDAR data revealed a landscape completely transformed by human hands. A hidden world of geometric precision emerged from the data. Squares, circles, and long, straight causeways were etched into the earth, often connected in complex networks that stretched for miles. These weren't natural formations. They were the unmistakable signs of sophisticated urban planning and large-scale construction, evidence of a society with a deep understanding of engineering and social organization. The scale was immense. In regions like the Llanos de Mojos in Bolivia, researchers uncovered an intricate system of raised fields, canals, and causeways covering thousands of square miles. This was not the work of a few small tribes. This was the infrastructure of a civilization, a society capable of marshalling huge amounts of labor to reshape their environment on a monumental scale. The earthworks were not just random shapes, they were purposeful. Many were oriented with astronomical precision, aligning with solstices and equinoxes, suggesting a culture with a sophisticated knowledge of the cosmos. These discoveries were not isolated. Across different parts of the Amazon basin, from Brazil to Ecuador, similar patterns of massive earthworks began to appear as more areas were surveyed with LiDAR. The evidence was undeniable. The Amazon had been home to large, organized, and technologically advanced societies long before the arrival of Europeans. The jungle wasn't hiding a few scattered villages, it was hiding entire cityscapes. One of the biggest puzzles for archaeologists was how these massive populations could have fed themselves. Traditional slash-and-burn agriculture, as practiced by smaller groups, quickly depletes the poor Amazonian soil. It couldn't possibly sustain a large, settled urban population for centuries. The answer lay in a mysterious, man-made soil known to locals as terra preta, or dark earth. This incredibly fertile, black soil is found in patches throughout the Amazon basin, often several feet deep. For a long time, its origin was a mystery, but analysis revealed it wasn't a natural phenomenon. Terra preta is a rich mixture of charcoal, pottery shards, plant waste, and other organic matter. It was a sophisticated form of soil management, a way for ancient Amazonians to create their own fertile ground. By slowly adding biochar and compost over generations, they transformed the poor, acidic soil into a sustainable agricultural powerhouse. This was no accident, it was a deliberate and brilliant innovation. This dark earth is self-sustaining and remains fertile to this day, thousands of years after its creators vanished. It allowed for continuous cultivation in the same spot, year after year, providing the food surplus necessary to support large cities and a complex society. This discovery of ancient large-scale agriculture completely upended the old arguments about the Amazon's inability to support civilization. The people of the rainforest hadn't just lived in it, they had actively engineered it to suit their needs. The entire Amazon, it turns out, may be a vast, human-created garden, a landscape profoundly shaped by millennia of human activity. The very distribution of certain plant species, once thought to be natural, is now believed to be the result of ancient cultivation. The legend of El Dorado, the lost city of gold, has captivated explorers and treasure hunters for centuries. It drove countless expeditions deep into the Amazon, most of which ended in starvation, disease, and death. The most famous of these was the journey of Percy Fawcett, a British explorer who disappeared in 1925 while searching for what he called the lost city of Z. His story became a symbol of the romantic but fatal allure of the Amazon's mysteries. For a long time, El Dorado was seen as a pure myth, a European fantasy projected onto the New World. But the new archaeological discoveries are forcing a re-evaluation of this legendary tale. Could the stories of grand cities deep in the jungle, which the first Spanish chroniclers reported, have been based on reality? Could El Dorado be a distorted memory of the very real urban centers that LiDAR is now uncovering? It's unlikely these cities were made of gold, but they were rich in a different way, rich in people, culture, and power. The stories told to the Spanish may have been embellished, but they likely originated from a kernel of truth about the existence of large, powerful kingdoms in the interior. The geometric earthworks and vast settlements being found today match, in many ways, the descriptions of organized towns and causeways that were once dismissed as fiction. The search for a city of gold may have been a fool's errand, but the search for a lost civilization was not. The tragedy is that by the time explorers like Fawcett began their search, the societies they were looking for had already collapsed. So what happened to these sprawling civilizations? Why did these cities, which thrived for over 1,000 years, disappear so completely that they were forgotten by history and swallowed by the jungle? The answer is a catastrophic tragedy. The arrival of Europeans in the 16th century brought not just conquerors, but also invisible killers, diseases like smallpox and influenza. The indigenous populations of the Americas had no immunity to these old-world diseases. Epidemics swept through the continent with terrifying speed, often moving faster than the explorers themselves. Communities were wiped out in a matter of weeks. It's estimated that as much as 90% of the indigenous population of the Amazon died in the century following first contact. This was a demographic collapse on a scale almost unimaginable. A society that had numbered in the millions was reduced to a few scattered, traumatized survivors. With the population decimated, there was no one left to maintain the complex agricultural systems, the causeways, or the urban centers. The intricate social structures that held these civilizations together simply disintegrated. And the jungle, ever present and powerful, began its slow work of reclamation. Fields were